City2 Sea started as kids and fishing in 2003. The idea was to get young adults like yourselves actively involved in activities that clean up the environment. And as a reward, we were taking kids out on the water and showing them what they're working so hard to protect. And the emphasis here was on marine science and hands-on activities on the water that get you guys excited about learning more marine science and obviously falling in love with the ocean so you can protect it.
As Captain John mentioned, I'm with the American Cetacean Society Los Angeles chapter, but I also work at the Cabrillo Marine Aquarium. The Cabrillo Whale Watch program does just that. We train naturalists to go out on boats, and we work primarily through the gray whale season. That's the whale that we're looking for today. Although we're in the open ocean, anything, we can find anything. So I'll talk to you a little bit about the gray whale now, just to give you some idea of what we're looking for and how you guys can help us, because it takes everybody on a boat. I always say whale watching is an interactive sport because we all need to participate. We all need to be watching for those whales out there. You know, the captain can be looking straight ahead, but he can't keep an eye behind us, and whales can be anywhere at any time. So we're looking for this guy here, the Pacific gray whale. The Pacific gray whale migrates from, this is a little tossed out of order, sorry, but I'm going to show you a quick map here. The Pacific gray whale feeds up in the cold, shallow waters north of Alaska, the Arctic Ocean up here. It's a shallow water habitat about 200 to 300 feet deep, and they actually go down to the bottom to scoop up their food. And I'll talk to you about the food, and I actually have some samples and things I can show you later. But they migrate every year. What are some reasons that animals migrate?
For their food source.
For their food, and what's the other reason? Like, what's the reason to leave their food?
For their babies.
Yeah, to mate and give birth, exactly. So they're gonna feed up here where it's much more nutrient rich because of the cold water. They give birth down off of the Baja Peninsula in Mexico. There's a shallow water lagoons in that area. It makes it safe for these young calves that are born with very little fat and very little strength. They need to be, they need to fatten up and get the energy to make the migration back up to Alaska. So they spend about 3 months down here. So right now we're seeing them on their southbound migration. They've left those the feeding grounds and they're heading to Mexico. With any luck, we'll also be keeping an eye out for babies, because there are every now and then there's some babies that are born early along the route, and they have been seeing a few babies. One of my the ACS chapter programs is also to sit at Point Vicente, which is along the Palos Verdes Peninsula here, watching for gray whales. Sun up to sunset, we have amazingly dedicated volunteers, and we're trying to get an idea of how many whales are out there and what they're doing. We don't see all the whales in the entire population, but we get trends. We see if there's big surges and a lot of calves at certain times. So right now they're seeing about 9 to 14 whales every day from the peninsula. So we'll be keeping an eye out for some of those. Now, gray whales are a little bit unique in that they don't have a dorsal fin. Oftentimes when you think of dolphins and dolphins and whales, they have a big dorsal fin, right? This guy only has a ridge of dorsal knuckles here and no teeth in the mouth. What is this instead of teeth? I'm sure Mr.
Baleen.
Friedman's taught you. Yeah, everybody say baleen? Yeah, so they're filter feeders, right? They filter their food out of their mouth. You can go ahead and pass this around to get an idea of what a gray whale looks like. It's about a medium-sized whale in the world of whales. What's the largest whale in the world? What's that?
Blue whale.
Blue whale, exactly. Blue whales can average about 100 feet, and the gray whale is going to be about 40 feet long. So a little bit smaller than the length of this boat. If this boat's about in the 60-foot range, it's a 40-foot whale. So you know, you have a good idea of what we're looking for.
I don't know how much all of you know about the evolution of marine mammals, but it is probably one of the coolest subjects. And other than Christine, I was wondering if one of the Animo leadership students would say a couple of words about what animals, marine mammals, evolved from. Andrea?
Don't they have the same skeletal structure as humans?
Okay, so they have the same skeletal structure in terms of 1 to 5, and within the flippers you've got the 5 bones just like the hand bones. And the marine mammals, the whales, dolphins, cetaceans, evolved over about 55 million years ago, and now they have found like full skeletals and heads fossilized that show a transition of the different features of the animal. And the most obvious one is where are the nostrils in a land mammal? Like a wolf, where are the nostrils? Right up the front, right? Well, there's an evolution of that nostril to the blowhole, which if you think about it, makes sense if an animal's in the water to be able to exhale, inhale, and dive at the same time, right? So an evolutionary adaptation over millions of years that enabled these land mammals to evolve to marine mammals.
Really recent studies and what is now adopted by marine mammal researchers is the connection to the early ancestor of whales, dolphins, and porpoises. That family of animals is called cetaceans. And even-toed ungulates, which are your even-toed hooved animals, such as hippos. The ancestor is the same for both hippos and whales, just to link them all together and give that one iconic species. And now they're actually changing the scientific designation. They're changing, and we won't go too far into this because without being able to see the word written out, it's a little bit challenging. But the scientific order has changed now. It's not cetacean any longer. It's Ceta, representing the cetaceans, and Artiodactyls, representing the even-toed ungulates. The scientific order now is Ceta artiodactyla. And they're lumping all the whales, dolphins, and porpoises and the even-toed ungulates, such as hippos, into one group. And what that means is they have, through fossil evidence, they have made that connection so clearly that scientists say, yes, absolutely, they had the same common ancestor, and so we're lumping them together.
So the project is ongoing. We're getting closer to our goal of finishing the interior upstairs. The next project, to create our Marine Science Learning Technology Center down below.
The boats are face of like a face of a clock. So 12 o'clock is straight ahead, 6 o'clock is out back, and then 3 o'clock is straight out to our right, and 9 o'clock is straight out to our left. You see this? Ah! There you go. That's so big. Oh my God! Ah!
coming and tell everybody what they missed.
Yeah, make sure and tell them how horrible it was.